March 18th, 1945, eastern outskirts of Berlin, 4,000 feet. The battered Me-262 wails as Mertens follows Oberfeldwebel Lucas Brandt into a shallow climb. Smoke streaks behind his damaged wing. Every vibration feels like a warning. But for the first time since takeoff, he isn't alone. Brandt's jet slices ahead, cutting a clean arc through the gray horizon. His radio voice is calm, composed, almost unnervingly steady, given that the world is collapsing beneath them. Adler 2, form on my left, keep low. Mertens slides into position. Together, the two jets skim just above the skeletal remains of Berlin's eastern districts. Bombed rail lines, shattered tenements, burned out tram cars. A city built on centuries is dying in a single season. Above them, the Tempests and Mustangs regroup, an entire sky of predators circling, waiting for the next chance to strike. Brandt speaks again, this time quieter. "This is it, Carl. JG7 is almost gone." Mertens doesn't answer. He can't. Half the squadron's voices had gone silent in the past hour. Fischer, Weber, the rookies from the last training cycle, all gone. He hears Brandt breathing through the radio, steady, measured, unfazed by the chaos around them. It's a veteran's breathing, a man who's accepted the mathematics of survival. Then Brandt says something that chills him. "There will be no reinforcements, no fuel for another mission. Today is the last time jets rise over Berlin." Mertens swallows hard. Ahead lies open countryside, a thin sliver of escape, but overhead, the Allied fighters begin to descend again. 4 Mustangs, 3 Tempests, all converging on the last 2 Me-262s in Germany's capital. Brandt banks sharply to the right, heading toward a column of rising black smoke, the remnants of a fuel depot struck earlier that morning. The boiling haze may mask their movement. But the British pilot, who nearly killed Mertens earlier, has found them again. His Tempest drops from the sun. Mertens sees him too late, a dark shape growing larger, angling for a perfect line on Brandt. "Lucas, brake!" Brandt doesn't panic. He doesn't pull away too fast. He simply rolls the Me-262 onto its back, using gravity to snap into a sharp dive. The Tempest overshoots just barely. It's a mistake measured in inches. Brandt seizes the moment. His cannons roar. A stream of 30mm shells tears across the Tempest's left wing root. Metal flashes outward. Hydraulic fluid bursts into the air like a mist. The British fighter shudders, banking hard, trailing a dirty black plume. The pilot bails out, a tiny figure tumbling against the smoke-darkened sky. His parachute blooms behind him. Mertens exhales. But there's no time to celebrate. The remaining Mustangs descend in perfect formation, tight, disciplined, merciless. Brandt calls out, "Carl, climb to Angels 3. We drag them east. It's suicide." The Me-262s are damaged, low on fuel, hunted by 7 enemy fighters with the sun at their backs. But there are no choices left, only delaying the inevitable. The 2 jets climb, engines straining. The Mustangs follow, diving into position, spreading out like a net being drawn closed. The first Mustang fires, tracers streak past Brandt's wingtip. Brandt rolls, Mertens rolls behind him. The Mustangs split, each taking calculated angles, anticipating every move. The dogfight becomes a dance, deadly, elegant, desperate. One of the Mustangs, a silver aircraft with red wingtips, dives on Mertens. Instinct takes over. Mertens throws the 262 into a skid, cutting throttle just enough to make the jet hang for a heartbeat. The Mustang flashes past him. Mertens fires, a full burst from all 4 cannons. A single 30mm shell strikes home. The Mustang explodes in midair. But the German cheers die instantly. Because Brandt's voice cracks through the radio, sharp and urgent. "Carl, fuel warning, I'm on fumes." Mertens checks his gauges, both tanks nearly empty. The 2 jets climb into a thin, pale sky. Below them, the Allies circle. Above them, nothing but heaven. And ahead of them, the end of everything. March 18th, 1945. 9 miles east of Berlin, 3,000 feet. The engines of both Me-262s whine in protest as Mertens and Brandt climb into thin, frigid air. Their fuel gauges flicker ominously, needles buried near empty, trembling from vibration. Every second in the sky now is borrowed, stolen from whatever fate awaits them. Below, Berlin burns in 1,000 shades of orange and black. Above them, the Mustangs and remaining Tempests form into hunting lines, spreading into a crescent formation designed to corral the jets eastward. Brandt's voice cuts through the static. "Carl, when I tell you, dive to tree level and head northeast. Don't turn, don't climb, don't think, just run." Mertens frowns. What about you? A long pause. One of us must make it back, remember that. Merton's stomach drops. Brandt isn't planning an escape. He's planning a distraction, a suicidal diversion. The Mustangs dive. 6 of them, engines roaring with predatory confidence, smoke trails curling behind them. Their formation tightens into a killing wedge, leader at the tip, a veteran with the cool precision of a surgeon. Brandt pitches his .262 nose up and does up the... Merton stares. Lucas, don't... But the older pilot is already committed. He climbs directly into the Mustang formation, head on, like a man charging into a storm with no armor. This ends here, Carl, go! Brandt opens fire. The 4 Mk-108 cannons blaze with thunder, spewing a storm of 30mm shells that streak upward, ripping through the sky like meteors. The Mustangs scatter in shock. One Mustang takes a direct hit. The shell slams into its engine block and the aircraft disintegrates in a flash of fire, wings peeling off like paper. Another Mustang jerks violently as shrapnel rips its tail. It spins out of control, falling in a corkscrew of smoke. The air explodes with chaos. Brandt rolls through the Mustangs, engines screaming, tracers every direction. He fires again, short controlled bursts. His wounds are precise, fatal. The Allies recover quickly. The remaining Mustangs dive toward him, fangs bared. Brandt doesn't flinch. He doesn't run. He fights. Mertens watches, frozen between awe and despair, as Brandt dances his wounded Me-262 through the sky with the grace of a man born for this moment. His engine hemorrhages smoke, the jet trembling from stress, but Brandt refuses to break. Carl, now! His voice is raw, urgent. Go! Run! I'll hold them! Mertens finally obeys. He slams his throttles forward, diving into the haze. The Me-262 plunges toward the treetops, pieces of roofing tiles and smoke swirling around the fuselage. The engine coughs once, twice, then stabilizes. Barely. The jet races just above the pine trees east of Berlin, branches whipping past the wings. Behind him, the sky glows with fire. Brandt's final stand. Mertens forces himself not to look back, not to slow down, not to think, not to breathe. He tears through the air, pushing the failing engines harder than they were ever meant to endure. The Mustangs regroup. 3 of them break away from Brandt and swing low, following the exhaust trail of Mertens' wounded jet. Their silhouettes grow larger in the rearview mirrors. Brandt's final message crackles through the cockpit. Make it count, Carl. Then a harsh burst of static, then nothing. Mertens whispers into the dead radio. Thank you. Up ahead, the forest opens into the scattered farmland beyond Berlin, a small window of survival, if the engines don't fail and the Mustangs don't close the gap too fast. He's running on fumes, he's running out of sky, he's running out of luck. But he's still running. March 18th, 1945. 15 miles east of Berlin, 1,200 feet. The farmland outside the city stretches in patches of brown and gray, scarred by tank tracks and artillery craters. Smoke from Berlin drifts across the horizon like a dying dragon's breath. Oberleutnant Karl-Heinz Mertens skims the treetops, his Me-262 barely responsive. Every vibration feels like the engine's last breath. The left Jumo sputters irregularly, each cough a reminder that he's seconds away from becoming a gliding target. Behind him, 3 P-51 Mustangs close fast. Their silhouettes ripple in the heat of his exhaust trail, propellers shimmering like spinning saw blades. Their pilots fly with cold precision, the way men do when they know the war is nearly won. Mertens' radio crackles, but only with static. Brandt is gone. JG-7 is gone. Berlin is dying behind him, a burning star collapsing under its own gravity. The Mustangs fan out. The lead Mustang pulls high, setting up the classic diving shot. The second stays level, anticipating evasive maneuvers. The third drops low, cutting off any attempt to run for the tree line. A perfect trap. Mertens hisses through clenched teeth. Come on. Not yet. Not yet. The left engine surges, coughs, then dies. Warning lights flood the cockpit. The turbine spools down with the hollow whine of a ghost disappearing. The right engine flickers. He glances at his fuel gauge. Empty. Bone dry. He's flying the world's most advanced jet fighter as a glider. He pushes the nose down to keep what little speed he has. The Me-262 wobbles, shaking violently as air bites at the dead engine's intakes. The Mustangs commit. The lead P-51 dives, guns twinkling in the sunlight. Tracer fire slices past the canopy. A burst tears through Mertens' right wingtip, sending fragments spiraling upward. He banks hard left, or tries to. Without engine thrust, the jet responds sluggishly, like it's dragging its own corpse through the air. The Mustang overshoots by inches, climbing sharply to reset. The other two move in. The low Mustang fires. Rounds punch through the fuselage behind Merton's seat. The aircraft shudders. The control column shakes violently in his hands. He forces breath into his lungs. He has one chance left. A field appears ahead, long, flat, lined with thin trees. An emergency landing is possible, barely. But the Mustangs aren't going to let him land. Think them, he mutters. The Me-262 has one advantage left: speed retention. Even dead, it glides faster than any piston-engine plane. Mertens pushes the nose down sharply, letting the jet accelerate in a shallow dive. The Mustangs push their throttles to chase, engines screaming as they follow him into the descent. The ground rushes up. Trees, smoke, farms, open dirt. Mertens holds steady, heart pounding. At the last second, he yanks the control column back. The jet flares, hard, violent. The Me-262 skims the field, its landing gear still retracted. Dirt explodes into twin plumes behind the engine nacelles. The belly slams into frozen earth, metal scraping, sparks flying like a shower of angry fireflies. The jet screeches across the field, then breaks apart, the left wing tearing off in a violent spin. The fuselage twists, digging a trench in the soil. Mertens is thrown against his harness, teeth rattling. The world becomes dust, noise, and pain. Darn. When the jet finally stops, he is half conscious, slumped sideways, breathing shallowly. Blood trickles down his forehead. His vision blurs. But he is alive. The Mustangs circle overhead, cautious at first, expecting a trick, a hidden flak trap, anything. Then one by one they peel away, turning west, leaving the wrecked jet behind. They have bigger targets: Berlin, railways, fuel depots, the dying Luftwaffe. Mertens fumbles with the harness buckle, fingers numb. In the silence of the field he whispers, "Lucas, we made it out." He drags himself from the shattered cockpit, boots sinking into churned soil. Smoke rises from the broken wing. In the distance, Berlin's Fearglow still stains the sky. The war is ending. Not today, not this hour, but soon. The glide of a dead jet over a dead city is the metaphor no historian needs to write. He stumbles toward a line of bare trees, every step echoing with the ghosts of the men who didn't make it out of the sky. Behind him, the Me-262 smolders. Ahead of him, only uncertainty. But for the first time all day, the sky is quiet. Continue for Section 9, The Fall of the Luftwaffe. March 19th, 1945, dawn. Morning fog spreads over the farmland east of Berlin, rolling low along the ground like smoke from the night before. Mertens limps through it, clutching his cracked ribs, his flight suit torn and smeared with dirt. Behind him, the wreck of his Me-262 lies half buried in the field, the last machine he will ever fly for a Luftwaffe that barely exists anymore. He walks until his legs give out beneath a birch tree. As he collapses, he hears distant engines, a deep, rhythmic pulse, but not Mustangs, not Tempests. These engines growl. Soviet tanks. Within minutes, T-34s crest the ridge, tracks crushing frozen grass and churning mud. Infantry ride on their hulls, rifles ready. The Red Army is here, not in maps, not in threats, but in iron and steel and numbers. Berlin is surrounded, the entire Luftwaffe is finished. A Soviet sergeant approaches, rifle leveled. Mertens lifts his hands. He expects a bullet. Instead, he gets a question, blunt and cold. "Pilot?" He nods. The Soviet officer studies him for a moment, then lowers the weapon. "Lucky," he mutters. "The sky is death now." Mertens almost laughs, not out of humor, but because the man is right. The Luftwaffe's final transformation is complete. From a force feared across the world, to a handful of starving squadrons, to men crawling from wreckage with empty tanks and empty futures. He is marched toward a makeshift command post on the ridge. Through the haze, he sees what remains of German air power. A column of smoke far to the west, rising from smashed concrete, what used to be an airfield. Soviet infantry cluster around a burned-out FW-190. Its wings are snapped, the cockpit is black, a dog tag string dangles from a charred frame. A Soviet corporal shakes his head and says to no one in particular, "All the German planes are ghosts now." Mertens lowers his gaze. For once, he cannot argue. Section 10, The Last Sky over Berlin. April 1945, Battle of Berlin. 3 weeks later, the final chapter begins. The skies above Berlin are no longer battlefields. They are graveyards. Burned-out anti-aircraft towers loom over piles of rubble. The Luftwaffe's few remaining planes either never take off or are destroyed on cracked runways before their engines can warm. The Me-262s that once terrified bomber crews now sit abandoned, half cannibalized, unguarded. Allied bombers no longer need escorts. There is nothing left to fight them. Sometimes, on quiet mornings, Berlin survivors swear they hear jet engines in the distance, echoes of the future that arrived too late to save the past. The truth is simpler. The jet age was born over a dying capital, but it was born. From the ruins of Berlin, engineers and air forces across the world will study the Me-262, the Tempest, the Mustang, every machine of this last violent aerial chapter. And they will build something new, faster, stronger, more enduring than the war that birthed them. Humanity will step into the jet era with the same mixture of hope and fear the Me-262 inspired in its first pilots. As for Oberleutnant Karl-Heinz Mertens, he survives the war in captivity. He never flies again. But sometimes, years later, when asked about the war, he says only one thing. We fought for a sky that was already gone. A sky where jets screamed, Mustangs hunted in packs, Tempests cut the air like sabers, and Berlin burned beneath them all.